Good morning, everyone. It's Ripcal, doing some more Ancient Cave in Lufia 2. This is continuing our Iris quest. Goal is to get all the Iris treasures. If you are not familiar, Ancient Cave is a 99th floor, randomly generated dungeon. When you go in, you start with no items, no levels, just your characters. That's not completely true, because the first thing we're going to do is equip really, really powerful items. The items that we have are items that were taken out of a blue chest, which are rare items that are spread throughout the dungeon. Hadn't actually looked at that one yet. We're going in with the traditional party that you would use for these runs. Blue chest items are the one thing that you get to bring out with you, along with Iris treasures, which are randomly placed throughout the dungeon and do basically nothing. When you get all of them, you put them on display. That is about it. So we're gonna try and get them all over the course of this run. We have, I believe we're at 5 so far, out of 9, plus the reward for killing the jelly that we can also get and put on display. The jelly is the boss. The end goal of the Ancient Cave is to reach the last floor and beat the jelly in 3 rounds, burn through its 10,000 hit points. It is not easy to do. We have to get very lucky. However, by going through it multiple times the way we are, getting all of these blue chest items, it does make it easier and increases our chances of eventually getting success. We've only actually, I've done a lot of runs, and I've only actually beaten the jelly a few times. It is not an easy journey. So one of the cool things about Lufia 2 is that the enemies on the overworld only move when you move, and the enemy types move in specific patterns. Certain enemies just kind of move randomly, certain ones move when they're in a, like, perpendicular to you. Certain ones just charge you. So a lot of the game is navigating around those enemies, being able to kind of plan your route, as it were, especially once you get into the more challenging areas. Early part of this run is going to be pretty straightforward. With the gear we have, it's not going to be super challenging. But we are going to try and open as many treasure chests as we can. We're going to try and get anything we can that would be helpful. We're especially looking out for blue chests, because we, again, get to take those with us. Other thing that's very important to find early on is we'd love to find a healing spell. You may notice that as we level up, we are not, our max HP increases, but our current HP doesn't. And what that means is we don't get... Basically, we need to keep healing ourselves just to keep our hit points where they are supposed to be. And that makes it a little bit daunting at times. It's not a big deal yet, but eventually we're going to find something that is threatening and it will try and kill us, and the way we not die is that. Okay. So this is what we affectionately refer to as a party room. Sometimes all of the things get generated in one area. And in a room like this, our main goal is to minimize the fights we get into while getting the treasure, avoid difficult fights, and avoid getting back attacks. The positioning that you have on the map does matter. So like that enemy coming in from the side could have been a problem. Luckily it was not. That's a very good item. Muscle ring. And a water ring, okay. By the way, if you see me moving back and forth between enemies, I try and stagger it so that, so we're trying to take out the front row enemies first. I want the first two attacks, which are Maxim and Artie, to go at different enemies, so that if they kill them, which they probably will at this point, the attacks don't move to the back row until the front row is completely cleared. Enemies in the back row do take less damage. Seriously? Is this possible? I don't think that's possible. Remember if we had found the stairs earlier. I really should be better about paying attention to that. Okay. So, normally we don't want to get into too many fights early on, just because it's kind of a waste. These enemies don't give too much experience, we can catch up very easily on it, and especially with this gear, we don't need it. We're pretty much just trying to fight what gets in the way, what's going to potentially get in the way multiple times, and what's between us and treasure. Regain is very valuable to find just in case. It's one of the resurrection items, which, like I said, healing is somewhat rare. We'll probably end up using some potions pretty soon here, just because we've already got a few levels and have not had a chance to heal yet. big boomer. Let's just go ahead and blast these guys with that. It's a good opportunity just to get that out of the way. That's a good find early on. It's the Deadly Sword. I can put that on Maxim, and it will give him a way to instant kill enemies. The downside is we can't use it against undead. The upside is putting it on a faster character. Since Dakar and Guy are kind of slow, putting it on a faster character is a good way to just get out ahead and get one of the enemies dead real early. Ideally, we would find... That was me thinking the stairs were gonna block that, and they do not. I have no idea what I was thinking there. We're not going to bother equipping it yet because we're still one-hit killing everything anyway, and because the deadly weapons are not usable against undead. Those are mimics. That's a stairwell. With this gear, we should be okay. Mimics can be pretty powerful. But again, we've already gotten a few levels, and the starting gear we have is enough to kind of overcome the fact that the mimics are kind of an unfair enemy. Okay. So, mimics only start moving when you get a certain distance away, and then they chase you. Now, if we go to the left, we're just going to have to go through this thing, but because of the way that mimics move, if we go to the right, it will chase this way, and then we can use the bush to block it, and sneak through. There's our deadly rod. That's a good start, honestly. If we end up having to go a little deeper than we normally do, honestly, we're pretty set up to do so. With that start, the items we have for Artie to boost his speed are pretty good. Oh, the muscle ring too, actually. I wasn't even thinking about that, but that's another, that's a strength boosting item. So there's a pretty good chance that we could make a good dive if we wanted to. We'll see what we find. And how the rest of our run goes. We haven't found any healing yet. We haven't found a Dakar blade. We're not far enough to get a Dakar blade. That's beyond the point. already got enough levels that even if we don't find Water Gauntlet, I can't remember if Artie can use that or not. That might be a female-only item. Nope. That's actually a very good item. It's another item that boosts agility, I believe. If I was seeing correctly there. The reason you want to boost Artie's agility is because Artie goes first. But enemies in this game have very high agility as you go deeper, and so it can be very important to boost your fastest character for a couple reasons. One is it lets him go before the enemies to use deadly weapons. So if there is one very powerful enemy that is fairly fast, and you have a weapon that has a chance to instantly kill it, that is good. The second thing is if Artie goes first, then you can heal reactively. And what I mean by that is, so if Artie is slower than the enemies, then you have to predict what the enemies are going to do, and then heal, either cast the heal to keep up with it, or be around behind. So if the enemies go, and then Artie goes after them, there's a decent chance that whatever you were planning on doing just doesn't matter. You know, if you're planning on healing somebody and they get dropped, the healing spell fizzles, you just wasted your turn and you lost a person, you're probably dead. But if Artie goes goes before the enemies, then you can see what they do and react the next turn. So if one of your guys gets killed, then instead of using a healing spell, you can use a resurrection item. Or if you know that your guys didn't get killed, you can use a healing spell and know that it's going to be successful. The third reason is that that when you run away from enemies, it's based on your agility. So having a very high agility character like Artie makes it so it's more likely that you will run away, and more likely that you will run away quickly, which is important. Again, lots of these enemies higher on just wreck you. I wasn't thinking and just kept attacking. Red cores are very high experience enemies that try and run away. Usually you want to use a spell against them, and I just mashed attack there. So I'm very glad that I got lucky and that worked. Not that we're super in need of levels or something. I guess I don't necessarily want to use... Yeah, it's only 6. That's not that bad. Those scorpions are one of the enemies that I mentioned that move perpendicular to you. So if you move up, they move, I think it's right. Yeah. I have a very bad tendency of walking those enemies into myself. So if I move down, that's gonna go left. Okay. Like, it's not like the enemies are super bad or something. It's just annoying when you accidentally walk them into your side and give yourself a back attack. A few very barren floors in this one. Sleep Rod. Good capsule monster food. I haven't really talked about capsule monsters yet. That was a mistake. I think we're okay, but these things, yeah. If more than one of them use flash, that can be very bad. I should not have let that fight start. A lot of the enemies, if I say that I'm trying to avoid them because they're dangerous, it's not necessarily that they're going to kill you every time. Most of the time is that they either have a chance to kill you if you are not careful, or they are detrimental to your resources. And what I mean by that is, again, we don't have any healing. If those Wispies attack, and all of them were to cast Flash, that would do about 60 damage to all of my characters. Right now, even if that doesn't kill everybody, or anybody, that does use a bunch of our potions. Even if we have that healing magic, it uses your MP, which doesn't refill automatically. You know, everything is a resource, and that's kind of the whole point of the cave, is managing your resources, using what you find to the best of your ability. I think this loops around, yeah. And then I want to say that the stairs are over here, yeah. Like I said, very barren. I'm not super happy with that. We found a few good items. Honestly, the water gauntlet is probably worth it, like, regardless. Even if we don't find anything useful by the time we find Providence. Providence, by the way, starts to be found on floor 21. It's really good. As a healing tile, that gives us the ability to just get a full heal. So what we're actually going to do now is I'm going to take a few fights on this floor, take a little bit longer to explore, just because we have the ability to heal. don't have to full clear it, but I just wanted to get a few more kills there. So hopefully, starting at floor 15, which we're on 17 now, there's a chance to get an item called the Dakar Blade. And that is one of the best things for killing the jelly. We're not super focused on killing the jelly in these runs until, we'll eventually do it. But my main goal is to find the iris treasures. Iris treasures, blue chest items. Now, one of the tricks to this is that if you don't warp out, if you die in the dungeon, you still die. You don't get to take your stuff out with you unless you use Providence to warp out. So, one of the reasons that we've been taking Providence when we find it is that we need to make sure, the whole point of this is to get all the iris treasure. If we find an iris treasure, we are using Providence. I haven't really talked too much about our reddish friend here. Capsule monsters are kind of your fifth party member throughout the game. Oops, that might have been a big one. Hey, we got him to level 2. Getting Sully to level 2 is kind of where he has kind of an early sweet spot, and then late game he becomes much better. Not that it matters that much again. You don't get to control them. They kind of just do their own thing, which is kind of the problem with them. We use Sully because he has very good attack and defense. He's kind of just very well rounded. Downside is he's slow. So he goes last. The other downside to Sully is that he has a chance to defend. And you may say, but wait, defending is good. And it can be. But if you recall, the point of this entire run is to fight a boss where you have 3 rounds to do a bunch of damage and kill it. And Sully is great when he attacks. He also has a very low chance of using his special attacks compared to a lot of the other capsule monsters. Wow, floor 20 already. So far, just the water gauntlet. I don't know if we're warping out with just water gauntlet. I'm probably gonna go until I find at least one more thing. Even if we were to find Providence right away. Either another good blue chest or another good blue chest or an iris item. There's Providence right away. First chest on floor 21. Whoops. Yeah. Let's go ahead and deadly up here. Is that the right deadly? Ominously. Yep. So they can now both do instant kills against any non-undead enemies. For a full run, that is both very useful because it gives you the ability to kill things very quickly without having to worry about how much damage you do. But it also means that you are... cursed items cannot... or they are also cursed items. Cursed items cannot be unequipped. So they kind of have this double edge to them where you don't necessarily want them equipped for the last fight, at least in their current state. The uncursed version have special abilities, which are actually very good against this Master Jelly. But you have to get a Curse Lifter item to remove the curse, which we obviously do not have, and there's a chance that you will find one or not. So if I were very intent on getting a clear here, then equipping both of those with no curse lifters was probably not the best move. Again, our goal is just to get something else good here before we warp out. Ideally, an Irish treasure. Again, enemy that moves in a really interesting way. Those guys move opposite to you. Ugh. And bees. Bees are really annoying because they move kind of sporadically. Every few steps you take, they'll get to move 2. They have attacks that do status effects, which are annoying. And they have attacks that can hit multiple people, which is annoying. Can we not kill those guys? Okay, good. I was gonna say, I thought we could kill deadlies with, or deadly armors with deadly weapons. The rod has I believe has a slightly lower... Really? When you get in first, so you get a back attack, it is also guaranteed that you will run away before the enemy gets to act if you escape on that turn. So, very useful for quickly moving through the dungeon. Especially in narrow passages like that. Aqua Helm. Wow. Artie is kitted out. All of these are fairly powerful items that increase agility. So That is very good. I'm gonna go a little bit deeper just because I don't... Basically because I'm not worried yet. We will escape at the first opportunity where I am even a little bit worried. Unless we find something that gives us a reason to keep going. But, okay, that's hopefully okay. Artie keeps missing. We got lucky. You see there, the other piece is that those enemies are very fast. They get to go before a lot of your other party members. The other thing is that they can come in groups of up to 4, and if they are faster than you, which, let's be clear, they are normally faster than you. I just showed off the 4, like, legendary blue chest items that Artie has equipped to boost his agility. That is not normal for expectations. There's a reason that we're looking for that gear, and that's so that Artie can do things like outspeed bees. $26. We're still good. Just looking for other scary enemy types real quick. The enemies that show up are random, but the floors where they can show up are the same. So, the one I was checking for, the next one is blue mimics. The red mimics are kind of scary. The blue mimics are very scary. However, the blue mimics are also stationary. Cold Rapier's not bad. Oh, never mind. I was thinking Mist Rapier. Cold Rapier is just okay. This game keeps taunting me, I swear. So Dakar Blade, as I said, is very important for killing Jelly. The reason is because it has a special attack that gives you... that takes half of the health off of an enemy, and that includes the Jelly. It is a red chest item, so you have to find it every time through. You can't find one and take it with you. Yeah. We'll keep going until we have a reason to stop. I do want to keep these items, but we're not in any immediate danger. But if we find a situation where we are nervous about basically, if we're worried about our chances of survival, we're not taking the chance. Because we can just leave at any point in time. Okay, I feel much better now. So that is a third very good blue chest item. luckily we already have one, but 2 is even better than 1. Black Eye is another item that boosts agility. Now, finding a second one isn't super important because the main person we care about for agility is Artie. But boosting Maxim's agility can be good. It means that he gets those deadly sword hits in early, and it means that there's a chance that he gets to go before enemies. So I'm definitely not complaining there. How greedy do I want to be? Lions aren't too bad. Part of the reason I'm willing to take that chance is because lions only tend to come in 2s. Yeah, these enemies aren't too bad, so as long as I don't find anything too bad, we'll keep going a little bit. Sully, you had one job. And technically, at least you attacked. But you could have hit harder. Sully has a special attack called Perish Punch, which also does a chance at instant death. So he's kind of a built-in deadly, but he goes very late in the turn order, so it's much less useful. Okay, this is an enemy that moves perpendicular, so we want to go... Ammonites are kind of scary. They can do an attack that hits your entire party, which again is generally a bad thing. I really wish we had a healing spell. Like, genuinely, the main reason that I am so hesitant about just committing to try and do this run is because we don't have a healing spell. If we do find one here, I may actually pause instead of ending the run, I may pause and just start a new video and then continue the run. But for the time being, we still do not have one. There's a blue chest in the way down there. That is a blue mimic, not a real blue chest. Let's see if we can get that blue core. bear. I have to say, those are some really terrifying raggedy bears. Yeah, we got one. Okay. So I think I'm going to set myself a hard limit, so I stop saying one more floor. If I don't find a healing spell by the time I finish floor 40, which is where it changes music again, then I will probably call it. Like, really, that's the main thing that I'm concerned about right now with this. Like, we have plenty of time to get a curse lifter, potentially. Although, it would be nice to just have. That does make it a lot less reliable. And we don't have a Gady's Blade, which is the other piece of equipment that is very, I guess, important. It's not required, but it is potentially important. Or I guess maybe maybe a better way to say it is, the Gady's Blade is a pretty much guaranteed jelly kill if you have both the Dakar Blade and the Gady's Blade. There are other ways to succeed, but that is the most reliable. Gady's Blade is a blue chest item, so eventually we're going to find one, and then we will have it forever. But we do not yet. Okay, we should be getting into the floors with assassins pretty soon, which can be kind of annoying. So can those guys, the Tengu. Just because they move kind of sporadically. Super Sword's not terrible, but it's Selen only, I think. Cancer Rock. Very good item. Let somebody make 2 attacks in 1 round, which is... Again, I was talking about alternatives for beating the jelly without a Gady's Blade, and that is one of them. one of my absolute favorite little snippets about this game, specifically about these crab enemies, is that when they're moving around on the overworld, because they're crabs, they don't move. Like, the side that you think is their front is actually their side, and they effectively move sideways, quote unquote. Sounds like my neighbors decided to crank their bass up again. Close enough, I may just take that as a sign. Yeah, we're close enough. I'm just gonna call it. We didn't end up finding any healing, and I really want to get out with these items that we found. So, we're gonna Providence out. We'll call it there. Not our best run, but honestly, we didn't do bad, and we made it pretty deep considering our limitations there. We were about ready to start getting into the areas that are kind of scary, and that was kind of where I wanted to, I guess, cut it off. So, hopefully you are still enjoying. If you are, please give me a like and subscribe. Check out the other content on my channel. If you have any questions or suggestions, please leave them in the comments. And as always, have a good one. We'll catch you next time.